Konnichiwa, everybody. Hello, hello. Domo arigato for being here. This is Freestyle with Mark Fisher, and I'm your host, of course, Mark Fisher. I want to welcome everybody on this Sunday morning. I hope you're having a great day. I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are out there. It's always wonderful to spend time with family and with your mothers, and I'll be seeing my mother shortly as well. She's 93 years old. She'll be 94 in September. And, I just wish her the best on this Mother's Day. And I wish the best to all the mothers that are out there today. Anyway, we've got a fun show that I'm going to go through here today. We're going to talk about my trips to Tokyo and to Japan. And I'm going to show you photos from that. Plus, I'm all going to give you some recommendations for shows that I'm currently watching on Netflix and on other streaming services that I think you might enjoy, as well as a book that I'm reading that also I think that you might enjoy. So we're going to be talking about those things. As always, you can get into the chat if you're on the live stream and just write a question or comment. I'm going to include you in the show. So just go ahead and write anything that you like, and I'll pop it up there, and we will, talk about it. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started with the show. I see Donna Jenkins there. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Donna, for being here. I appreciate that. Anyway, we're going to get started here now. I'm going to talk about my trips to Tokyo. I've been there a couple of times. The first time was in 2003, but then most of these photos you're going to see are from when I went there in 2015, May of 2015. And I love everything Japanese culture. I just love it. I was talking last week about the television show Shogun on FX and Hulu, and Shogun is my favorite book of all time. So anything about Japanese culture, I love. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention is that I'm not so crazy about the weather in Japan. I was actually pretty surprised. It gets really cold in the wintertime, of course, and it snows. But in the summertime, it gets really hot and humid. And so it's difficult to move around because it's very hot. But in the springtime, which is when I went in May, it actually was very enjoyable and very pleasant. And there was no problem. So you just have to pick your time as to when you want to go there and when you want to see Japan. So without further ado, let's get started. This is Tokyo from above. I took this photo from the Tokyo Tower. It's a huge city. I think it's the largest city in the world. And with it being so large, it's amazing how clean it is. It is clean. The people dress nice, and you feel safe anywhere you go on there. With all that huge density of people, they have fantastic mass transit. So you can move around the city on the subway system all over town and get there very quickly and efficiently. This is me there waiting to go down to the subway station and the train. And hi, Beyond Jehovah's Witness. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. And Donna Jenkins, I wanted to mention that too. Happy Mother's Day to your mother and Janice, Terry, and Aaron. Thank you so much, Donna. Anyway, in order to use the subway system, the one thing that's a little drawback if you speak English is that Japan, most people do not speak English in Japan, and they don't have a lot of signs in English. However, there is possible to get a subway map in English and figure out your way in terms of what lines you want to take where. But you can get across town very quickly and very efficiently in Japan. And I had a friend who used to live there. She actually was my business partner for several years, and she used to live there when she was a teenager. So she was able to instruct me as to where to go and how to go on the subway lines, and I really appreciated it. The first thing I did, of course, when I got to Tokyo is I took the double-decker bus tour that I've talked about on my channel before. This is the famous Tokyo Tower. At night, my flight from the United States arrived around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I took a train to my hotel, checked in, and I, of course, was going to be jet lagged, so I went ahead and took the double-decker bus tour at night, which was actually pretty spectacular to see that. And this is when I was on the tour. That's a bridge going across to an island just outside of Tokyo. And here I am in one of the trains. So this is one of the subway trains. that you take everywhere. They're incredibly clean, incredibly efficient. One of the things I wanted to mention about the Japanese people is that they're so polite. They actually line up to get on the escalator. There's no pushing and shoving. They line up to get on the subway cars. No pushing or shoving. Not like other countries and or even here in the United States. Oh, here he is. Godzilla is in the house in Tokyo. There he is. Of course, Godzilla is a famous character in Japanese anime and literature and movies and this and that. And this is on top of a building in one of the entertainment districts down there. It's on top of a movie theater, and it's one of these huge, replicas of Godzilla. So he is there as well. So he's in town, and you can see him. And I'm going to talk about a show that I'm watching right now about Godzilla and monsters. I'm not really a big monster person, but we'll talk about that here coming up. This is the Ginza district in Tokyo, which is kind of like the business district and all that. And then just pictures walking around. You can see there's lots of signs, lots of neon light, lots of people walking. I had to have sushi, of course, when I was in Japan. I went to the famous fish market that they have in Tokyo that you have to get up early in the morning to go to. So I did that. And then I decided, well, there's a sushi place right here. So I'll go in there and try their sushi. And you don't even really have to look at the menu because they don't speak English. You just point at a picture and then they just present it to you. And it was delicious sushi. And it was very good to have that there while I was in Tokyo. It was raining the first day I was there, so I went to the Tokyo Museum. Yedo, EDO, is the original name of the city of Tokyo. So that's the Yedo Tokyo Museum, and it's indoors. The great thing about this museum when I went there is, of course, I don't speak Japanese, and I was there by myself. As soon as I walk in, they had an information desk, and they said, "Oh, would you like a guided tour?" And I said, "Well, how much does it cost?" They said, "Oh, there's no charge, and we're going to give you somebody who speaks English." Sure enough, they gave me a history teacher, an elderly gentleman. He spoke perfect English, and he took me through the entire museum, and it was quite a treat. They have all these different replicas of buildings in Japan and Tokyo back in the day, and lots of miniatures and stuff, so you can see the different things here. And this is all inside the Tokyo Museum, and I just took pictures here of the different costumes and very rich history in Japan. Here I am here. This is one of my attempts at a selfie. This is before, the iPhone and all that, and I was using a selfie stick, so it's not that good. But anyway. And then at night, after that, you go down to Shinjuku, which is sort of the entertainment area where all the people are, and just walked around. And you can see the lights. It's just an amazing city to see. All right, so now we're going to get to the next thing. I watched the show Anthony Bourdain. I don't know if anybody saw it with No Reservations. Anthony Bourdain was the New York chef who became famous by writing a book called No Reservations, and then he had a television show first on the Travel Channel and then later on CNN, where he traveled all over the world, ate food, and basically visited different places. So I was a big fan of that show. And one of the things that he mentioned about in Tokyo was a thing called the Robot Show. All right. And it's a really good show in this district here. And I want to show you some of it. This is when I was going into the Robot Show. It's very intimate. You get right up close. I was right in the front row. And I'm going to show you here. I'm going to share my screen and show you a little video and then show you some photographs. And I'll talk over the video as we do that. So just bear with me for 1 second here while I get this up and running here. Hold on 1 second here. All right, I hope you can see this. You can see I have the sound turned down, but they have these animatronic robots and dancers and singers, and then behind them they have like a video wall, and it's a theater in the round, sort of like a rectangular shape, and so the video screen goes all the way around you, and they do like 3 or 4 shows a night, and it's very entertaining, and it's just Japanese all the way, anime, and different characters here. And you can see the dancing robots and the girls dancing and singing. Don't understand anything that they're saying, but it's really, really cool and really, really entertaining. And you'll see here, they have these different robotic floats that come in that'll roll in here, and you'll see that just 1 second. And it's quite an experience. It was not expensive. Here are the floats, the little float things that they go rolling in and out on the stage, and they're literally right in front of you. You almost can reach out and touch them. But it's just a really cool experience there. And that is the robot show. Let me go back here and stop sharing my screen. The robot show in Japan. Anyway, so this is pictures from the robot show. You can see that video wall behind me and the people sitting there. And these are some of the floats that come in and out, some of the girls dancing. And so that was really a great opportunity, entertainment there at the show. Of course, I love Japanese gardens and Japanese parks. This was just a Japanese park that I went to. It was very large. And this was in May, the end of May, kind of like around this time in 2015. So it was a little bit warm, but it still was nice, and did a lot of walking there. And it's just beautiful gardens. This is right inside the city of Tokyo. And you can see this here. These are all kegs of sake. I don't think they have sake in them, but each one of them is from a different distributor, whatever. It's on display there at this garden here. And that's what those are. If you like sake, there was nothing to drink, but it just was a big display of sake kegs. One of the things I mentioned before is that the people, they dress immaculately. I've never seen it, just people walking around. And this is in the middle of the day, and they're dressed in a suit and tie, and she's in a dress and all that. And one of the things I wanted to show you, I'm going to pull that up here. Just 1 second, bear with me, because I'm going to move this video a little bit. And here we go. Let me share this with you on the screen. You've got it right there. Okay. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this. It's people walking down the street. I'm just sitting there on a bench, and look at how immaculate everybody is dressed. You don't see any dirt on the street. People are dressed up. They're dressed hip. They're dressed for work. This was like on a Sunday afternoon, so it wasn't like they were all going to work or anything. But it was one of the things that really impressed me about Japan. It's just how clean it is, how safe it is. It's just a really, really wonderful environment. So I just wanted to show you that there as well. So I'll take that down. Anyway, I see you've got some questions in here, and I'll get to them shortly. Just bear with me. I went to an area. There's an area of Tokyo that I think it's called Harajuku. And they have lots of different shops and places you can eat and all that. But Gwen Stefani sang a song with the Harajuku girls, and they dress up in this kind of funky fashion and costumes and everything like that. And this was a girl out in front of a candy store. This is another girl. She was a Harajuku girl, and this is the way they dress up. And she was there, and she was taking photographs with tourists. And it was kind of a cool experience. Watching this walking street with there's lots of people dressed up in that fashion. Crepes, they have crepes is a big deal in Tokyo, and they have all these delicious crepes. You can get them any of those. One of the great things about Asia is that they have like almost rubber replicas of what the food is on display in the windows, and literally any one of those you can point to it, and they will produce it, in real life to look like what you see there. And it makes it really easy to if you don't speak the language, to pick out what you want to eat, or what you want them to make for you. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. And then this is in the middle of Tokyo again. This is another Japanese garden. It's a big one. I love Japanese gardens. There's a lake here. You can see it, and it's just beautiful. They have the trees sort of cut like in the bonsai fashion. Beautiful flowers. I went to a restaurant, of course, where you can do this in the United States too, but where you order your meat and vegetables, and you cook it right there on your table yourself. And so that's what this is here. This is in 2003. This is me down in the subway station when I went there for the first time. And that's me in front of the Tokyo, what remains of the Tokyo Emperor's Palace. Emperor's Palace has got a huge moat around it. And it's right in the middle of Tokyo by the Tokyo railway station. And this is in that same garden area there. And again, this is in 2003. And that's me up on top of the Tokyo Tower that I showed you earlier, where you get a panoramic view of the entire city. And so that's basically my trip to Tokyo in 2015. I went another time through Japan, and I went to Osaka, and then I went to Kyoto, which is the ancient capital of Japan. And I did a quick whirlwind sort of tour on one day, just running through all the different shrines and everything. I just couldn't find the photographs to share them. But one thing that I experienced while I was there was an earthquake, literally sitting in the dining room for breakfast one day, and all of a sudden everything starts to shake. And it's a common occurrence, as some people know, in Japan, that they have earthquakes quite often. And, everybody just kind of just looked at, oh, here's another earthquake, and they kept on moving and kept on doing what they were doing. So it was pretty interesting to watch that and experience that at that time. All right, we're going to move on to our next section here. Let me go ahead and pull up. I've got a couple questions here first. Let's see here. Where we got? This is from Beyond Jehovah's Witnesses. What will you do with your mom today? I'm going to go and see her shortly, and I've got some cards from myself and my brother, and I will be seeing her and checking up and see how she's doing. So we'll have a good day. I hope all the mothers out there are going to have a good day today for Mother's Day. And then also Beyond Jehovah's Witnesses question, what year did you go to Japan? Were you able to avoid the expensive side of Japan? Yeah, I went in 2015. And at that time, I think it was like 110 yen to the dollar. So it was pretty close. Now I think the dollar is much stronger. So you actually get more for your money. But I didn't find it terribly expensive. Europe was much more expensive when I went to Paris, France. My hotel room was not that expensive in Japan. It was very small, which was fine with me. The best thing about the hotel room, though, it was the Japanese toilet. I hate to say it, but you fall in love with the Japanese toilets when you go over there. I would love someday to put one in my house here, but they're about $4,000 or $5,000 for the toilets, and they basically do everything for you. You don't have to worry about a thing. They're heated seats. They light up. You sit on them, do your business, and then they take care of the rest, and it's quite something. So anyway, that's a funny thing. But I didn't find it terribly expensive there when I was in Japan, and I think it's even better now. I think the dollar's stronger now against the yen than it was at that time. And then let me see here. I've got another question again from Beyond Jehovah's Witness question. Has your mom visited Japan with you? No, my mother is not able to travel. She's never been well, she went to Japan. I have to take that back. She actually went to Japan before I did. She went before I was born. My dad was stationed in Japan, and in 1956, my mother had my sister Betsy in the United States in Delaware, and then she had to get on a military transport plane and bring my sister Betsy as an infant on a military transport plane from Delaware in 1956 all the way across the United States and then all the way over to Japan. And my mother tells funny stories about that because basically military transport plane is not an airliner. You're basically sitting in a seat and it's very loud. And of course, in those days, a lot of it were propeller planes. And so you're stopping quite a bit. And she's dealing with an infant going over to Japan. But once she got there, my dad had, rented like a little house there near the Navy base where he was stationed. And he was able to hire a Japanese nurse maid to take care of the house and also help my mom as a nanny for my sister Betsy. So she has been to Japan before. Thank you for that question, Beyond Jehovah's Witness. And one other question here. Are there good Japanese restaurants in Las Vegas? Absolutely. I think there's better sushi here, to be honest with you. And as a matter of fact, I've heard from people from Japan that when they come to the United States, and particularly Las Vegas, they love to eat at the Japanese restaurants and the sushi places here because it's much less expensive than it is in Japan. And that is one thing I forgot to mention. It is expensive to eat sushi in Japan. That's expensive for sure. But over here, it's not expensive at all. And there's some really excellent sushi places here in Las Vegas. There's places where you can go all you can eat sushi. You can order anything on the menu for all you can eat. It used to be about $26 to do it. I think it's a little bit more now with inflation, but you can go in there and eat all the sushi that you want, and they'll just keep putting it there, whatever you want. The only caveat is you have to eat the rice, that, with the sushi, and that you can't, if you leave any on your plate, they charge you back for it. So you got to make sure that you clean your plate. And that's one thing that you could do here in Las Vegas. And I want to mention one other thing too about Japanese food. It used to be Mexican food was my number one favorite foreign food, but no, Japanese food is number one for me now. Mexican's number two. I love everything about just the cleanliness of the food, the way it's presented to you, the flavors. Not even just sushi. Any of the noodles and the soups. The yakitori, the meats, anything like that. It's really, really delicious. Very simple. That's one thing that's great about Japanese culture is they're very much into simplicity, but the flavors are really great. Their beer is good as well. If you like the beer, it's got a little bit more of a stronger taste, I think, than American beer. And sake is good too. But boy, you can get drunk pretty fast on sake. So you got to be vigilant when you're thinking about drinking sake. I like it warm. You can have it warm or cold, and I like it warm and chase it with some beer, and it's just really, really a good thing. All right, we're going to move on to my next segment here, and that is this here. What are you watching, Mark? And this is going to be, some shows that I've been watching here lately, and I just wanted to recommend them here. I mentioned this last week briefly. There's a new movie on Netflix called Unfrosted, and it's written and directed by Jerry Seinfeld, and also a lot of his Seinfeld writers contributed to it too. And it's just a silly, fun movie. Very funny, very silly. But don't take it seriously because Jerry Seinfeld doesn't take it seriously. I listened to some interviews with him, and he just said it's just silly. And what it's about is the basic outline is it's about the invention of the Pop-Tart in the 1960s. Okay, here in America, the two different food cereal manufacturers were Kellogg's and Post, and they were both located in Battle Creek, Michigan, and they were the ones that produced all the different cereals that Americans ate, and they still do to this day, quite a few of them. But we're talking about Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Sugar Pops, Rice Krispies, all these different cereals that they have. And so they were actually in a little bit of a competition when they were coming up with some kind of breakfast pastry that kids could eat in the morning. So it's a Pop-Tart was what it was about. And it's basically a silly movie about the creation of the Pop-Tart, but it also allows Jerry Seinfeld and the different members that he have in there to make funny comments about things that we remember as kids if you're a kid of the 60s and the 70s. This is a photograph from the movie. There's Jerry right there in the middle. And he plays like the big creative executive at Kellogg's. And then on the left is Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, and he plays the head of Kellogg's cereals. And then on the right is Melissa McCarthy, and she gets enlisted by Jerry Seinfeld to help invent the Pop-Tart. And so this is just a really silly, funny movie. You've got Hugh Grant plays Tony the Tiger as a character. He's a British actor who's a Shakespearean actor, but he's basically been hired to portray Tony the Tiger, where he goes, "They're great." And he's kind of disenchanted with his life and his whole role. And so he's in there as well. And he's very entertaining as Tony the Tiger. And it's just a silly movie. One of the things that I liked about it is, he analyzed it. Basically, the way the script goes, it goes line, line, punchline, line, line, punchline, line, punchline. So there's lots of jokes. So I watched it a second time, and I caught jokes that I missed the first time because I was laughing at some of the other ones there too. So anyway, I highly recommend Unfrosted. It's on Netflix now, and you can watch it. It's well worth your time. Even if you're not a child of the 60s or 70s, I think you'll enjoy it if you're a Jerry Seinfeld fan. All right, that brings up my next one. And this is my Godzilla show that I'm watching. It's called Monarch Legacy of Monsters. It's on Apple TV. It may not be available to everybody if you don't have Apple TV, but it's about, it's a monster. They're looking into, Godzilla and these huge titans and different monsters in Japan and in Alaska and all that. And it stars Kurt Russell and Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell play the same guy at different ages. Kirk's son Wyatt is his son with Goldie Hawn, and he plays the part in the 1950s. And then in present time, you've got Kurt Russell playing the same part. So it's kind of interesting having a father and son portraying the same character. But the main reason why I wanted to watch this is because I love Shogun, and the main character in the show, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, is Anna Sawai, who played Mariko in the Shogun series. So I was like, oh, what else has she done? And then there was this Monarch series. And I said, oh, I'll check it out because I'm not really a monster fan, but I'm a big fan of Anna Sawai. So I went ahead and put it on. I'm about 5 episodes in. If you're into monsters, it's very entertaining. I recommend it. And it's a Monarch Legacy of Monsters. There's big old Godzilla there taking care of a school bus back there in that time period. So anyway, if you've got comments, if you like monster movies or not, write down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinions. And, it's just a fun show that you can watch on Apple TV. And of course, Unfrosted, like I mentioned, is on Netflix. All right, we'll go to the next section here. And that is, what are you reading, Mark? What are you reading? I mentioned in a couple of episodes before that I'm a big fan of Michael Connelly, who writes the Harry Bosch detective novels in Los Angeles. Well, I'm reading this one right now. It's an old one from the 1990s, one of his first novels called The Concrete Blonde. And of course, I listen to the audiobooks and they're being portrayed, but it's a Harry Bosch murder mystery in Los Angeles. And he wrote it in the 1990s. So what's interesting to me, and it's a little, I have to get used to it, is of course, back in the 1990s, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have, ways to, communicate like we do now. They didn't have the internet. They used typewriters to type things, and they had pagers in order to get a hold of each other. So it's really funny to listen back to a novel that was written 30 years before the more current ones. But it's a good murder mystery. It takes place in Los Angeles, where they're hunting down a serial killer, and I'm enjoying it very much. So if you like mysteries, if you like Los Angeles detective novels, this is a good one. The Concrete Blonde, it's Harry Bosch. It's written by Michael Connelly. Okay. All right. I just wanted to mention here a couple of other things, if you don't mind. If you're interested, Janice, my partner on my other channel, she's got a product called Koala Calm. If you're having trouble sleeping, if you have anxiety, anything like that, this is a magnesium drink that you can use. You put it just a tablespoon or teaspoon in boiling hot water. They have unflavored, and they also have apple cinnamon flavored. And you can just drink it down and right before you go to bed, and it'll help you sleep. It also handles stress. It also handles if you've got achy joints or anything like that. It's just a really good drink. You can actually put the unflavored in orange juice or whatever, however you want to take it. But anyway, it's just something I highly recommend. And you can get that down below. Just go to our merchandise store and you can order Koala Calm, and Janice will send it to you. And it's just really a great product. You also can get the instant CalMag, calcium magnesium, on that merchandise store as well. And then she has a joint formula for all of us old people as we get achy joints and all that. So I just wanted to mention that as well down below. All right, let me got a couple other questions here from Beyond Jehovah's Witness. I really appreciate you sticking in with me here. Question: did you go to Scientology, Oregon, Tokyo? I did go by it, yeah. And it's it looks like the rest of Tokyo, which is like glass and chrome and steel and all that. There weren't a lot of people there, but anyway, that's what the deal is with that. And another question, do you buy used books or do you prefer new ones? You know, I used to get I always preferred hardbacks new hardback books. And of course, this is before, I really got into doing audiobooks with Audible. I am an Audible subscriber. So I don't have time to sit and actually read a book in front of me, but I spend a lot of time in the car driving. So I'm a big audiobook fan and I love the performances. And I find that it makes long drives and anything like that go by really quickly. And I listen to an audiobook probably 25 to 30 minutes a day minimum in my car. And that helps me get through the book. And I like the performances and all that. So that's how I do it. But before, I used to have hardback books up until 2010 when I had to move. And then I had all these books that I didn't need anymore. So I went ahead and sold them. And I kept a few that I like. And then sometimes I buy books like Janice's books are not in audio format. So I have those. Another book that was written by Mitch Brisker, I got that hard copy and I read that. But that's how I like to consume my books. And Donna Jenkins says, I have Audible too. Yeah, it's a great service. You know, it's basically like $14, $15 a month. And then you have your choice of all these other books. When you first join, you get X number of books for this amount of money. And, I can't read them fast enough. So I end up, building up my credits where I'm like 2 or 3 credits behind. So I always have credits available. And it doesn't matter. Like when I got Shogun in Audible format, we're talking a 1,200 page book. It's over 40 hours of listening. Okay. If you wanted to buy that audio book, it's like $40 or $50. It's not cheap, but because I paid, the $15 Audible credit, I was able to get the whole thing for that one credit. So it's a really good deal if you like long books. Even the shorter books, you can get them too. But my books usually run about 8 to 10 hours long. That's a normal length for a book that I listen to. So it doesn't take long to get through them. But what I really like is the performance. And then when I'm reading like a biography, I really like it when it's read by the person that it's about, like if it's an autobiography. I love that because it just feels like they're sitting in the car telling their stories to you in the front seat. So that's the reason why I like Audible and audio books. Anyway, we have reached the end. I know this is a short show. I'm going to have a guest. I have a special guest coming in this week. Janice and I have somebody so a lot of our viewers will know, coming over from England. And I'm going to be showing this person around Las Vegas. And we're going to be doing some videos about Las Vegas and his first impressions of Las Vegas because he has not been here before. And so we're going to do that. And I think it'll be a lot of fun and we'll get a lot of content out of it. And so we look forward to that next weekend. I should have a video together with that person. I don't want to reveal who it is just yet, but you'll know when you see the thumbnail who it is. And we're looking forward to that. He's going to be staying with Janice at her house, and we're going to be spending a lot of time with him. So anyway, that's what we've got. I just wanted to mention, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Just hit that subscribe button and, of course, hit the like button. It helps me get the word out there. I've got over 670 subscribers now. I'm over 3,000 hours of view time, so that's good. I need to get to 4,000 hours, and eventually I need to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm well on my way there. So I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching, just hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And if you have any questions or comments or anything we talked about here, go ahead down below in the comment section, and I always check those. Okay. And then finally, if you'd like to donate to my show, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link down below. You just click on it. You can buy me 5, 10, 1, doesn't matter. Just buy me coffees. And the money I get, goes back into the channel. It buys me equipment like this thing here, which is a gimbal for my camera, so that when I'm going around Las Vegas this week, we're going to be using this to film stuff. So anything I get, I just kind of put back into the channel because we're trying to make this as good as possible. Anyway, you can hit that buy me a coffee, and I really appreciate that. And of course, like I said before, if you want to order Koala Calm, just go down to the merchandise link in the description below. Click on that. It's very simple, and you can order that, and we'll get it shipped out to you. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know it was short. I didn't have a guest this week, so you just stuck with me. But I want to, again, wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I really think you're blessed to have a mother in your life. And if she's still alive, that's a blessing in itself. We wouldn't be here without our mothers. And I just wanted to send my love out to all the mothers out there, including my own mother. So anyway, that's all I have for the show today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next week, I'll see you. Bye-bye.